Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Airport Adventures. Today I'm coming to you all the way from Canada's largest airport, Toronto's Pearson Airport. And today is kind of a special episode because I get to show you inside this airport, which is kind of my home airport. Any trip I've been on, started walking through these doors over here and jumping on a plane. So come along, let's go check out Toronto's Pearson Airport, Terminal 1. Located in the neighboring city of Mississauga, YYZ is located about 23 kilometers from downtown Toronto. From there, the quickest way to get here is to use the very convenient UP Express, which I covered in my previous video. Around 50 million passengers use this airport annually, and if you're one of them, you may start your journey on the first floor out of the international or domestic baggage claim. The arrivals area is fairly spacious, with a Tim Hortons, Starbucks, 7-Eleven, and even a bar. There's also a fair amount of seating outside the international doors. You'll also find the tourist information, currency exchange, and ATMs. Many of the CIBC ATMs here also dispense US dollars, useful if you find yourself heading to the States. If your plane is delayed or you need to stretch out after a long haul, there's also a gym on the far end to pass the time. Outside these doors is where you'll find the taxis. One floor lower, you'll find the transportation for buses to the subway and surrounding cities. As a frequent user of public transportation, I must admit that the bus service has improved vastly over the past few years. Before you board, don't forget to pick up a Presto Transit card from one of the kiosks. Back above ground on the second floor, you'll find a drugstore which is above the domestic doors, along with the walkway to the Parkade, UP Express, and Blue Link train, which takes you to Terminal 3. A fun fact is that when they built the new Terminal 1, they tore down the old Terminal 1 and Terminal 2, but never reassigned the numbers. So the airport only has two terminals, 1 and 3. The second floor doesn't run the entire length of the terminal, and appears to be more of a landing than anything else. Jumping to the second floor by the international doors, and you'll find a subway tucked away. Ah, here we go, the third floor. This is the floor you want to be on if you're leaving town, perhaps to a sunny destination in the dead of winter, or in my case, further north for more winter. Nonetheless, you'll find that Terminal 1 is primarily used for Air Canada and Star Alliance partners, predominantly, if not exclusively. The airport is designed with the check-in piers, which we've seen in other airports. They're fairly wide apart, with enough wiggle room even when it gets a little hectic inside. The large displays at the end of the piers make it relatively easy to navigate. The terminal itself is separated into the D, E, and F gates for the domestic, international, and US respectively. Air Canada's business class check-in is on the north side, while the American check-in is on the south end, away from the rest. Pearson Airport supports US pre-clearance facilities, so once you're through these doors, you're separated from the rest of the terminal. The security for the D and E gates are relatively close together, and they did change the setup from when I was here a few months back. One thing to point out in this area is that you'll find another Starbucks, a Swiss Chalet, and some other restaurants. Other than this area, there's not much else in the way of food on this floor. Just a friendly reminder though, you can't bring any coffee or drinks bought here through the security screening. And with that being said, let's jump to the other side. I just made it through security, and right when you finish security, before you even come down the escalators, that's where you go if you want to go do one of the lounges. There is the Air Canada's Maple Leaf Lounge and the Premium Plaza Lounge on the opposite side. Right when you come down the escalator, you're greeted with this very large, flower, looks like overhead, very big display, so you can check where your flight is, you can check whether it's on time or delayed, and where the gate is. In this area here, the terminal kind of separates kind of like a Y. And so once you know where your gate is, then you're able to go in the right direction. Just before we head in the right direction, here's a peek at the Maple Leaf Lounge, which I was able to access with my status with Air Canada. This is one of the largest lounges that they have. But one thing I enjoy about this lounge, besides the shower, is the variety of seating area throughout. There's a wide variety of chairs, and you can opt for a quieter area if you need to close your eyes for a bit. They also offer a pretty extensive drink selection, but it was fairly late at night, so there's only a few light snacks to accompany them. My flight ended up being about 4 hours delayed, departing close to midnight, so the lounge access was quite welcomed. Back on the floor, where we started, is where you'll find the US and international connections. If you fly into the terminal, simply follow the signs to your connecting flight. The terminal is not terribly difficult to navigate. Down the escalators, you either go left or right. The area off to the right is generally used for the commuter flights to Ottawa and Montreal. There is a new Express Maple Leaf Lounge, along with another Starbucks and some bar and restaurants. There is a fair amount of retail outlets as well for those looking to window shop, along with an area to remind you of the snowy peaks of Whistler. Past the restaurant and down another escalator, you'll find Air Canada Express regional gates with ground boarding. This is mainly used for their turboprops and maybe the odd CRJ for flights within the province and eastern Canada. It's pretty cramped down here, and it being this crowded is a usual sight. Back at the start of the terminal, if you go left, it's pretty much just one long corridor with gates on your right. The left side at times can be closed if it's being used for US destinations. If you have some time to spare, I highly recommend the end of the terminal. This is where you'll find the majority of restaurants. There's a couple burger joints, another Starbucks and Timmy's, along with some bar and grill type restaurants. There's also a variety of shops to hit up. I personally enjoy the Rocky Mountain chocolates. Overall, the terminal is very clean and wide, and bright with lots of natural sunlight, except for now because it's nighttime. I enjoy the fact that when a flight is boarding, passengers aren't congesting in the main walking area. These horizontal escalators make it pretty quick to reach where you want to go. Also, restaurants and shops are located fairly evenly throughout the terminal, so you really don't have to go far to pick anything up. And for my final thoughts, if you find yourself coming here, I suggest you spend no more time than you really need at check-in, and then jump over to this side. There's really not much going on by the check-in area. Also, I found that the signage and direction is very easy to understand. And of course, like many airports, there's free Wi-Fi and there's plenty of charging ports to be found. And I think that about wraps it up for the domestic side of Terminal 1. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed a look inside this terminal. Be sure to give a thumbs up, subscribe to see more, and maybe check out one of these other fine airports. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you around next time.